Love between humans is just not easy. And without great examples or education about emotions, communication, sex, and what keeps love alive, it's too easy to be disheartened, settle, or give up on what you want most. I believe you can have the love and intimacy you want. And having coached thousands of people on their love lives for over 20 years, I know what love can be for you. So I'm bringing you people who share vulnerably about their dating and relationship struggles and how they learn to create the most connected, fulfilling, and exciting love and sex of their lives, so you can have it too. If you haven't yet taken the quiz to see what keeps you from having the best love and sex of your life, go to ShanaJamesCoaching.com/quiz. You'll get a personalized report of your strengths and challenges in the 5 crucial areas that lead to your most fulfilling and exciting love and sex life. Go to ShanaJamesCoaching.com/quiz to find out. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Man Alive and Practicing Love. I'm your host, Shana James, and I'm excited to be here today on both platforms to talk with a woman who I've known. I think we've known each other for at least 20 years. And
100%, 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years. Marnie Kinrys, who is the founder of the Wing Girl Method, the host of the Ask Women podcast, designed the F formula, and she's an award-winning female dating coach for men at every age and phase, right? I think you coach 25 to 85, similar to me. I think I've been coaching a little bit older.
87, I think, is our oldest man right now, 87.
Nice. I love it.
Which I love.
It. And you've spent the last decade as well helping thousands of men stop being Mr. Nice Guy and start being Mr. Holy Shit Man. And as we've both grown and matured, right? We both started this when we were very young. We were saying we weren't married, we weren't, no kids, all of that.
No responsibilities.
No responsibilities.
Yeah. Just free to think about what women want all day long. Well, and we were getting hit on all day long. So we were having a lot of responses.
Yes. And we were having fun with that. Now we've grown and evolved, and I'm excited to talk about understanding, especially for people in heterosexual relationships, but all genders, all sexual preferences are, I think this fits too.
It crosses over.
Understanding each other and what is creating more loneliness and how we, overcome that, how you work with people, both who are single and in relationship to overcome what is become a loneliness epidemic.
Yeah, totally. Well, the thing is that like the obvious things that are creating loneliness, like cell phones or social media, are really just shoving a phone in your face at all times. That's like the main thing that's causing loneliness.
Yeah.
But even more so, it's not something that's happening right now. I really think it's been happening forever, especially with the men that I work with. And it's the main thing that we teach men that we work with is to have the ability to share, open their mouths and express their wants, their desires, their history, what's in their mind, their opinions, their values, just their overall wants.
Yeah.
And that I think is leading to loneliness. And I think we're just seeing it on a bigger scale because people are more aware of it. People are expressing it, and then people are seeking help because of it. Yeah. But I think that this has been around for a very, very long time.
I think so too. And then it compounds it where the phone comes in and then we can just easily opt out in those moments where it's uncomfortable. But I think about, as you say that, how much trouble women have asking for what they want and saying what they want also. So then you have two people, if you're heterosexual, or in a dynamic where it feels kind of like both people just retreating.
They're walking on eggshells.
Yeah,
they're walking on eggshells
and kind of
They're
retreating.
Like, do you want this? Do you want this? I don't know. When really what you're talking about on your podcast, I believe, most of the time.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about in my business and my podcast is about really being clear on who you are, what you want, and then expressing it to other women. So I'll tell you a quick story. So I have this guy in my inner circle coaching program, and he has been separated from his wife for 10 years. Basically, he's divorced. Like they're not together. They're not divorcing because of financial things and children. That's the only reason. They're not getting back together. And nobody in his office knows this about him. Not a single person. He's never shared this with anybody. In fact, he's only shared it with 2 people in his life. And they happen to be family members. So they need, And I'm saying this as an extreme, but the fact that he's just like, I'm allowed to share these things. It's like his mind is blown, and the fact that sharing these things can actually bring deeper connection, right? He's walking around thinking, why am I not connecting to people? Why aren't women attracted to me? Why aren't people wanting to have more interactions with me. And it's
Yeah.
because he's not allowing people in
Yes.
any capacity. They don't even know that he doesn't have a partner. If they knew he didn't have a partner, maybe they would set him up with other women. Maybe he would be invited to way more things than he's invited to now. And the fact that he's limited himself because he doesn't want to share this, because he does feel shame about it, it's stopping him from having any kind of wonderful experiences that he can have as a single man.
Yeah. And then I think about dating. So you have two people sitting there and waiting for the other to either make it more comfortable or to start off the conversation, or, okay, someone's talking about something, it feels very shallow, I don't really like it, I'm kind of bored. But instead of saying, "What, I really want to have a deeper conversation," there's just this sense of, I guess this is just what I get here. I guess this is all this
person has to offer.
Yes.
So actually, I have an interesting story that just happened this weekend. Yeah. So we were up in Idlewild, and we were hanging out with our friends who live there, and they were talking about how when they first started dating, and the wife is definitely like a very deep person, very thoughtful, and the husband is super fun and light and social, and they didn't get together until like their mid 30s, maybe even like late 30s with each other. And she was saying that on their third date, she kept thinking, is this all that he is? Why is he not going deeper? And she had a few drinks and she looked at him, and they've known each other since high school, right? And then they reconnected. And she said, if we're going to do this, you're going to have to go a little bit deeper with me. And that was very bold for her to say. And she was in her late 30s. And she's like, if I was 25, I would have never said anything like that. I would have just passed, go on to the next guy. And he said the most amazing thing back to her, because many men would feel shameful about that, get defensive, whatever it is. They would have some sort of reaction, whether it's silence or it's aggression. It wouldn't be a good reaction that would lead to further connection. And he said, I've actually never gotten to this stage where I want to go deeper with somebody. I might need a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help.
Wow.
How to do that. And she goes, I can show you. They moved in like 3 months later, and then they got married, I think 6 months, whatever it was. It was a very fast pace after that. But both of them revealed something, and both of them revealed it in a very confident way. One person said, this is what I would like. Do you have that? Is that accessible for you? And the other person said, it's not accessible right now. I've never had to do it before, which is very vulnerable. But he said it in a very confident way with a big smirk on his face. And she ate that up. That was very endearing to her, because she's like, oh, I love that you just said that, which means also in her mind, you've never given this to another woman before.
Right.
I'm special because
I'm special. And there's so much in there too, because to not defend or to not shut down and to actually be willing, right? Whichever gender, whichever person it is, there's so much more possible. And that's one of the things that I often work with people dating. It's like, you don't really know who someone is until you ask for it, and until you see, is that something that they want also? And I love that, the boldness to be able to say, hey, this is what I value. This is what I need. Are you the person who's going to do this with me? And if not, it's okay. No shame, no blame, right? But if you are, then let's actually get real here, and let's go deeper, and let's create something.
And if you don't want to, that's totally fine as well. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but you can say, hey, that's not me. Like, I really love surface level stuff and just having fun. That's what I'm about right now. And then that can be like, oh, we're missing each other.
Yes. I just had a conversation with my 14-year-old who got asked out and wasn't someone she wanted to go out with. And then when I came back to my partner and said, this happened, he was like, was she kind? And I was like, yes, we totally had that conversation. I was like, that was the first thing I said. I was like, it's really hard for somebody to, be that bold. So just, make sure that you're leaving the person better than you found them, even if you say no. And how often, even I think about people in couples, how rare is it for someone to most of my couples to say, you know what, I really want this, or it's scary. Oftentimes we have this conversation.
It's very scary because, and there is something to like the comfort level of having a partner. And the scariness comes from, I may have done this properly in the past, but it still wasn't welcomed in the way that I want. So I won't do this again. And I've had this for myself too, where I feel like I've followed the protocols. I've done the things for communication, but because there is this heightened comfort level in your partnership, if you get like a bite back or you get not such a welcoming response, that can become really challenging.
Yeah.
And
And painful.
painful. And you may not do it again because it's really scary that you don't get hurt and you might just get quiet. So like in relationships, I think it's even more important, but the hardest part, and like this is the hard part that I have with working with just men as well, is that I can only help control that one side. The other side has to be open to it as well. And I can coach the men on how to make the women more open to it. But ultimately, like that is completely on her. I'm not coaching her in any way. But I would say that the best way for having open communication, whether you're a man, you're a woman, you're gay, straight, whatever, is to ask the person if now is a good time to talk. And then if they say yes, you go, great, I have a few things that I want to cover. And you say it so that it's on you. You're not pointing fingers. You're not causing any type of defensiveness to pop up by saying that you did this, you did this. It should all be from a place of, I feel this way. This is what's going on for me. I don't
really know what's going on for you. Right. I don't think you're meaning to do this.
It's hard because I know a lot of people are like, oh, you have to like pussyfoot around all of this stuff, but it just leads to less arguments and greater connection.
Right.
But
I don't think it's pussyfooting.
I don't think it is either. Yeah.
It just seems like that, I think, because for most of us, there was no modeling of how do you have a conscious conversation, right? It was either arguing or not talking about it and shutting down.
Yeah. Because I even have it like, listen, my husband and I have been on a journey for having great conversations, and it's still a real challenge because there is shame for each individual. There are ways that we started out our relationship that we had really poor communication. So everybody is like a child at some point when they're listening to their partners talk about them or potentially complain about them. So it's a hard thing. It's a very hard thing.
Yeah, I had one yesterday. I was like, I don't know why this is so painful or why I felt so hurt by this, but I did. And so now we're working it out because then that triggered his shame and his fear. And it goes back and forth. And we are like children, and yet we are also remembering, right? We have these adult selves and we can regulate ourselves or take a pause or put something on the shelf and tolerate. I mean, I think what I'm having to do in this moment, and he is too, is tolerate the discomfort while also knowing, okay, there's something deeper here that we trust each other and we can get through this together.
Yeah. One of the most helpful things that my husband has been doing for himself. This is before we took a Safe Conversations course, but this is the most helpful thing in the beginning because sometimes my emotions go crazy and I can vent. I process loudly. I process assertively. I would call it aggressively, but it's not like my tone is like heavy like this. Like that's my tone is intense because I'm thinking through things and I'm feeling something, and that can feel very jarring for another person, which I didn't understand before. I was just like, I'm just acting like this. It has nothing to do with you, but being around a person like that is really triggering and jarring. So for him, the tool that he's using is he just now stands there and goes, this is not about me. This is not about me. This is not, and he just reminds himself, because if he's thinking the other way, then his hair starts to stick up and he wants to fight back because he wants to protect himself in some way. That's his like animal instinct. What happened?
I love that. I love like each person having the what works for them. I think for most of us, not taking it personally is part of it.
Yeah.
And, thinking about single people too and dating and being rejected. I know you talk about that a lot too. Maybe we can bring that in also to the dating process when someone's asking someone out or having those conversations where you feel rejected or you're worried about being rejected.
Yeah. I mean, rejection does suck. It does 100%. When you like somebody and they don't like you back in the same way, it's going to sting, but it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't mean that you are unlovable. You are never going to be able to interact with other people. So in a lot of our programs, the biggest thing that we teach is how to be okay with rejection. So we actually give the exercise of going out there and trying to get rejected 20 to 30 times a week. And then like when you get rejected, you get a gold star, you get a point, because what you're doing is you're just having countless experiences where you're loose, you're not having heaviness on your shoulders, and you're interacting with others trying to get rejected, meaning that you're putting no limitation on yourselves. And the only desired outcome that you have is like, don't like me. in some way.
I
But what
love
you're
that.
doing is really putting your full self out there and being comfortable. So when you get into that space where that's your goal, it makes it a lot easier to take in rejection, because you just realize you're like, oh, you didn't like me, but let me go talk to this person. And like sometimes it's hard to get that rejection from that person. And then maybe you'll try even harder, but then you also start to realize what your lines are, like where the line is of what you can do. Because when you're trying to get rejected, you don't have that same filter on top of you as you do when you're trying not to get rejected. When you're trying not to get rejected, you put out a muted version of yourself because you're like, I can't say this, I can't do this. You have all of these limitations in place that just make you like this boring, bland version of a human being that they can't really feel anyway. There's nothing tangible about you.
Yes, I love that. I've done that with men in my programs too. And to watch them come back and actually celebrate, like, this woman said no to me in this way, or, you know, actually I couldn't get a no this week. So much fun. And it really flips that script of there's something wrong with me. I mean, I think that the deeper part of the rejection conversation too, and I see it transfer from someone who's single and dating into relationship and asking for sex or asking for intimacy or connection, getting to come back to validating ourselves instead of someone else's validation actually means that's who I am, which goes back to your husband's brilliant mantra of this is not personal.
Pass that on to him. He'll be very proud that you called it a brilliant mantra. No, that's the thing. Like, I am immersed in this world. You're immersed in this world. It's what we're talking about all day. So we get to practice it on like a daily basis. Yes. Because we're teaching it to people. We're reinforcing it to ourselves. Yeah. But my husband has nothing to do with self-help. He has nothing to do with interpersonal relationships. He works in an office. He's in production. It's a totally different space. So for him to be able to step into our world for a minute and like make something stick is really, I think, really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. And also curious what you have to bring back to everybody around the differences, right? When you are totally involved in this work, he's not. How are you translating that or working together in that?
Well, that's why we hire a third party to be able to translate it, because I found I was constantly thinking, fucking catch up. But I'm sure he would say the same thing if I was on a set with him, right? Like, he would be like, come on, get with it. Like, this is my world. So I have to be more patient. And there's certain times where he's gone and done his own work. And there's other times where we've done new work together that has really helped us. So I was talking before about the Safe Conversations course that's created by the Gottmans. I loved that. I think that was something that everybody can use in business with their children. We use it on our children as well, and it's magical, but mainly for ourselves. And Safe Conversations, this is the way that I define it, is really just giving a space for one person to talk at a time.
Yep.
Without defense, without reasoning, without excuses. It allows one person to empty out their bucket.
Yes.
And just vent everything that's going on for them, and the other person to really take in and listen what that person is saying. And then the other person has a turn. Because what I find, and I was finding even in my own relationship, was that we would get to a point where we would fight about fighting. And I'd be like, what the hell are we, why are we even fighting? We're not solving anything. And then we sort of end it, and then everybody's deflated and exhausted by the end, and nothing's been resolved. And then there's an apology the next day, but it still doesn't feel satisfying.
Yes, because it doesn't really get to the core of what's going on.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh, it's not even worth bringing this up, because now we've opened up this can of worms for us to argue about a pattern that's been going on forever. Now we're not dealing with the core issue. So Safe Conversations has been the most incredible things for us, because it gave us like a template that my husband can easily follow.
So great that he's willing. I've said this many times on this podcast, but I had a Tantra teacher once who was talking about how when you let someone empty their bucket, or when you let someone fully vent and get it all out, it can feel like you're going to die.
Yeah.
But when you let them do that, then they have so much more room in there to actually hear you, and they feel heard and understood. Exactly.
Yes. I can't hear anything when I'm like spinning out of control. And usually when I'm in that state, it's because I am out of control, and that's when I need the most help. Right. So actually I have this masterclass that I did called How to Connect with Women and Build Emotional Safety and Sexiness. Awesome. And the woman talks about it with like a bucket. Right? That like men have to hold this bucket in front of women and just let them vomit into it. And And like, you just have to stand there and hold it no matter how heavy it gets. But most often in relationships, guys are like, yeah, puke in the bucket. And then, okay, now I'm going to throw it in your face. Right. Versus just holding the bucket and like letting her puke, letting get everything come out of her. Then you put the bucket down and you hug her. Right. It's like a huge relief to that woman. And then she can give love back to him and look up at him and say, hey, now what do you want to talk about? Right. And then he can unleash and he can do the same thing. Yeah. It doesn't mean that men are cut off, and they shouldn't be cut off at all, because what I've learned in my 22 years of being a wing girl to hundreds of thousands of men all over the world is that men are emotional too. Men have feelings too. Men get hurt too. And the things that we think that they're immune to or they're stronger than, they're absolutely not. They're just not taught that it's okay to express the fact that they're not okay with that.
Yeah. And I'm curious for you, because I've found that especially the men I've been in relationship with, when I make space for them to share those things, and I don't blame and I don't shame and I don't say you're a pussy and I don't, I mean, maybe there are some fears like, oh my God, he's never going to come back to me in his full strength. But I check those fears and I realize that he's human too. And when we do have those conversations, they come back stronger
and manlier.
Yeah. Is that your experience too?
That's my experience as well. Yeah. With my husband and also the men that I work with as well. Yeah. Because the men that I work with, a lot of them, and I wouldn't say a lot of them, but many of them have been beaten down by many women. Even when we were talking before about the rejection and advising your daughter to be kind, like the things that women will say and do to men are really cruel that I've heard. I mean, men say, I'm not right. Like,
it goes both ways.
It goes both ways. But there are so many things that women say to men. I don't know why I think they have the right to, although I've done it as well, where I've said something really harsh to a boy when I was younger. And I'm like, he's a guy, he can handle it. That's okay. But I've learned now that those little things become crushing for those men and paralyzing. And really, to be honest, it's like leading towards the manosphere and leading towards all of this hatred towards women right now. So it's not benefiting us to be so cruel. Like, even I watched the show Summer House. I don't know if you watched that show.
No,
but
I haven't seen
it's on Bravo. It's like the worst show in the entire world. But there's so many times on the show about these people who live in a Hamptons house for the summer. They share a house where the women will say things to men. I'm like, if he ever said that to you, you would be like screaming that he should be arrested in some way. Even when they have arguments, the girls will say like, don't come screaming. No man can scream at me like that. And they're screaming at him while they're saying it. I'm like, that doesn't really, like, if you're screaming, he can scream too. If you want equality, take it in all spaces. Yeah. Right. But even like this one of the episodes, the girl was upset in the room and one of the guys came in to be like a nice guy and check on her. And she goes, no, get out. You can't be in here right now. And I was like, if 3 men were lying together in a bed, having a chit chat, and they were trying to bond and a woman walked in and said like, no, get out. You get out. Like, everybody would be up in arms about it, but it was okay that she was doing this because in our heads, we believe that men can handle it.
Maybe that is, I've never thought about it that way, that maybe that's what we're raised to think, that men can handle it. Or there's another part of me that thinks there's a sense that men deserve it sometimes from women. It's like, we've been through enough and they should have to feel it.
You should be able to handle this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There is. And there's not this guilt that's there, but I don't even know what it is that men put onto themselves where they're like, I should be able to take this.
Yeah.
Because
and you and I have both seen, we've seen so many men who've been beaten down. I just had a conversation with a man yesterday who has been dating and women have been flirting with him, and then maybe they've had sex, and then she gets mad at him for something and then starts, saying, you used me, or you this or you that. And it's like, okay, where is each of us taking ownership for ourselves? I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about rape, all of these things, but it's so complicated and so confusing these days. And even within long-term relationships, now we're seeing all of this happen out in the world. And then we've got our opinions about it, and our partner might not have the same opinions. And this is where I come back to, okay, how do we listen to understand each other? Like you said, I've been imagining, like, do we need to do this on a larger scale, right? You do it with your husband, I do it with my partner, but do we need men and women on a larger scale? Would it even work to actually come together and really hear each other?
I think it's happening. I don't know. I live in Los Angeles, so I don't know if I'm like in a dream world, but so many people that I know talk that way, and they talk that way to their kids. I don't know if they necessarily talk that way to other friends, or if they would give that same grace to their new relationships if they were to have them. But I mean, that's the way we talk to our children.
Yeah.
So it's spreading around for sure. I've even heard my other friends who have older kids where their kids will call them up being like, that's sexist, that's racist. That's like, so like the kids are listening and they're hearing it, like not just from us, but from everywhere else. So I think a lot of this language is getting out there. The sad thing is that the language of like all this anger and hate and what men are supposed to be and what women are supposed to be and like what people will accept and not accept, that's also out there as well.
Yeah.
So I think it leads to a lot of confusion, but at least we have the language down. I think my kids will be way more equipped.
Yes.
And maybe that's because they're my kids and I'll give them my book and they'll be able to, you know,
exactly.
go be stud.
No, I do. I think,
but I think they will. Like even their schools are teaching it.
Yeah. Yeah, their schools are teaching it, and I'm still seeing things that I would rather not see in middle school and things like that. But yes,
but they're humans, they're animals. Like that's just going to happen. It's just part of it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to accept that is part of it. But okay, so we touched on loneliness a little bit, and I'm wondering if we can go back there around. Obviously, people who are single are lonely for the reason of not having that companionship. But if we go beyond that to dating and relationships and think about when two people can be sitting together and both feeling lonely. We talked a little bit about the piece around speaking up, revealing, sharing wants. Is there anything else that you have to add to that one?
Well, I think that's where it starts, whether it's something active that you want to do afterwards about this loneliness. It starts with a conversation first. I'll even say in my own marriage, at the beginning of this year, I had a big talk with my husband because I was feeling so lonely. And I kept saying, I'd rather be alone than feel lonely right now. Yes. And the loneliness was coming from, he has this huge job that he is doing and it's consuming him. He's an introvert. He's a man, so he's single focused. But he also wants to be balanced. So he's home and he's there for the kids and he gives everything on the weekends, but not to me. Like I'm the one who can sort of take it.
Scraps.
Even though I know I'm a priority. And he keeps saying, you're my priority. Your family's a priority. You guys are my priority. It's like, great. But that means that I can sort of let you off easier to not do these things because I care for you and because I know that you're so stressed. But you have to override she's letting me off the hook to do anything to actually do something. Like we had, I think 2 months in a row where my husband was falling asleep in bed with my 8-year-old, 9-year-old now, because he was so exhausted. He was waking up at 4:00 in the morning. And then my other son would go to bed and I would just sit there and then we would do it over and over and over again. And
so you spoke up about that and said,
I spoke up about that and just said, like, I am feeling extremely lonely right now. And it's hard for him to take in because he's like, I don't even know where to switch this up.
Right. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this.
And there was countless conversations, even, I mean, with guidance too on how to do it, but it just, he was able to do it for a week and then it would stop. But so I said to him, this was advice that I got from a male marriage and family therapist. He said, you have to tell this husband, this is a level 3 fire that you need to focus on. And that has shifted everything.
Interesting.
It's when I said that. And then
it's like, it's real. It got really serious. Yeah.
And something for him to now put the single focus on. Like before I was just upset so he can sort of kind of calmly deal with it every once in a while. And now that I said that it's what is it called? A 5:00 fire. So he's focusing on it more. So he gives me 10 to 20 minutes in an evening where we have a conversation or we're cuddling with each other. And then we talked a couple of weeks ago and he said, okay, I need to map this out because on Wednesday and Thursdays, the kids have sports that they're doing this. He said, but Monday and Tuesday, we can go for a walk And if we can't go for a walk, we'll do something else. But Mondays and Tuesdays,
Yes.
and then sometimes on Saturdays can be our time. But he was proactively doing that.
Yeah.
Because if I had to keep proactively doing it, it would make me feel very unfeminine.
It would make you feel unloved.
Very unloved. It's like, okay, great. I'm asking for attention, but I'm planning all of it. And you're like begrudgingly joining in. And that
it's also amazing to realize that 20 to 30 minutes a day is a game changer, right?
I only need 5. I really only need 5. It's literally just sit on the couch with me for 5 minutes and just say, how was your day? What's going on? And not just complain about your job.
Yes.
But
actually listen, actually be there, actually be connected.
Yeah. And touching me in some way.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, if we can cuddle at the end of the night and watch a movie or something, not a movie, sorry, a TV show, that would be icing on the cake for me. I don't really require much. Before, when it would be walking through the door, going straight into your office.
Not even seeing each other.
Not even seeing me, because I'm like, oh, I'm here and I'm doing things and I'm doing everything in the household because you're so overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
And as nice as it was to say, like, I really appreciate all the things that you're doing. It's not enough.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I'm being high maintenance for saying that. It's not enough.
I don't either.
There's no connection there.
No, I don't think you're being high maintenance at all. And it's like really that idea. It was so many couples I work on appreciation, right? Starting with appreciation and having appreciation every day. And you make a great point, right? When appreciation is not enough is when there isn't actually that moment of connection between the two of you of like, I'm here, I see you, I love you, I care for you.
And what they need as well.
So much shorter. Yes, they need it too. And it can be so much shorter than we think.
And to be honest, it's helped his stress levels as well, because he was constantly thinking, oh, she's going to be mad at me for this. Like that's high pressure for him too. And I didn't even like feeling, I'm tense right now because I'm waiting for him to notice me. So then when he would finally notice me, I would bite his head off because I'd be like, took you 40 minutes to even see me. And it would ruin any of our moments before. So now there's more of a schedule. I know when to expect it, and I'm not anticipating potential letdown.
Yes.
Of some sort.
And well done, right?
Really
well
helpful.
done for actually tuning into yourself and saying, okay, something hurts. This doesn't feel good. This isn't what I want. What do I want? Right? Instead of bringing that complaint.
Yeah.
How do I want this to go? What do I see as possible? I think it's so much less vulnerable to bring the complaints. So we tend to bring the complaints instead of the desires, the possibilities that this is what I really want with you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and I think for you too, we work with men who want to know these things. So they're open to shifting. And this is why I don't work with women, because I don't know how to do that for men who are not there yet. I don't know how to and this might sound like misogynistic of me. I don't even know what you would classify it as. But I really think the person in the household that has to be leading this has to be the man. Be leading the success of the relationship. The woman will be on board, but it has to be led by the man. Like just like what I was saying before, where I would say, oh, we can do this and we can do this and we can do this. And then I would have to plan it. Like, I feel like it's not very feminine of me. And if I'm having to drag my partner, I find that a little emasculating for him.
Yeah.
Unless that's how we've worked it out, that, hey, like,
that's what I was going to say, right? I think it could be either, but it has to be a conscious agreement as opposed to this unconscious, like one of us dragging each other around.
Yes. Yes. And actually that's probably a better way of looking at it. I think it has to be something that's discussed. Like, listen, I am completely swamped, but I want to have something where we go out every Wednesday night.
Yes. Yes.
Let's sit down for 10 minutes and we'll throw out a whole bunch of ideas. If you can plan that and make it happen, I'll be there every single Wednesday night. I'll pick you up. We'll go.
Yeah.
But that has to be, but even the fact that he's saying that is still the leadership.
Right.
There is something like really the husband has to be on board and the man has to be on board.
I think the man has to be on board for sure. And this is where I debate this in my own head and with people. And as the gender spectrum is expanding, to me, it's what actually feels inspiring to you, to each person.
Yes.
And can we both know that about each other? And can we both not expect the other to just take over the thing that feels very challenging or that one doesn't inspire me, but it's how do we co-create this together? And I think a lot of couples do not start from that place. And so then as the honeymoon, whatever wears off, it's like, ugh, I thought that you were going to do all of that. Versus when I think about queer relationships, there's a lot less of a sense of this person's supposed to do that or this person's supposed to do this.
That's
and so
true.
there's more working
I
it
have
out
a lot
together.
of things locked into my head of like, you're supposed to hang pictures in my head. I know that's a stupid thing to think because I actually hang pictures way better than my husband does. But I remember when we first moved in, there was like a whole bunch of picture frames just like leaned up against the wall for months.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is your task. You're supposed to. There are these things that we believe in our head. Yeah. That do bite us in the butt later on because they're unspoken.
I think they do. And I think, for each person to reflect on or coming together, like you said, in that safe conversations or that sense of, okay, how do we each thrive? How do we each feel our passion for life?
Yeah.
What are the ways that then we get to bring that together to this collaboration? Yeah. Some couples are different, right? I watched my sister's relationship where he does a lot of the cooking and the grocery shopping and some of those things where that's maybe more traditionally the women's role. But I just love that. I feel like we're in a day and age where we can just expand to what actually works
doing
for
the
people.
things that work for us. Yeah. So before my husband took this job and like during COVID and post COVID, he was making meals every night. I loved it.
I love that.
Because he loves doing it. I'm the worst cook in the entire world and horrendous at it. So he was taking that on and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, going back to the loneliness, I think we can feel more lonely when we are stuck in a box or we have this idea that someone should be a certain way, but then those don't break open unless we're talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise
Absolutely.
we're fighting.
And I think we can get lonely in our own assumptions as well, right? Our own assumptions about our partner,
Brilliantly said.
About what they're thinking, about what they're feeling, about who they are as people. So the more that we can have conversation, and I will be okay. So this is the challenging part in my coaching, right? As I said before, I only coach the one side, right? And I can help men get women to open up, 100%. But if they are unwilling, then it becomes a challenge, and then you have to decide: is this the person that I want to be with? A partner where I don't know what they're thinking, I don't know what they're feeling, I don't know how they think or feel about me. Can I work with them for potentially the rest of my life? And that's where you have to make a decision.
Unwillingness is a big red flag, right? If someone isn't willing to open up. And I've worked with many men and then worked with their partners as well. And I've been shocked to see, there are times where they describe, if it's a heterosexual couple, their wife's reactions matches, right? And then there are other times where I'm like, oh, there are so many more layers here than he brought to me that now I'm getting to see with the two of them together.
And and the dynamic, you're like, okay, this is interesting. Oh, she hates you. Right. Now I understand where we're going.
Yes. Yeah. Now I understand what's happening.
Yes. Well, it's so interesting because I have a lot of clients who will come and say, oh, my last girlfriend was a narcissist. My ex-wife was a narcissist. I'm like, are there that many narcissists out there? And when you peel back the layers, you understand that the narcissist was created by the dynamic of the relationship.
Yes.
They're the narcissistic tendencies or behaviors, not necessarily an actual narcissist, but it may appear that way because of the things that were happening within that relationship.
Yeah. And I remember the dynamic in my marriage. I have been divorced for 13 years and with a new partner. But I remember his view of me, which wasn't totally wrong, but it was also, we created this dynamic where I was always the one who knew what I wanted and would say it and then kind of get intense like you were talking about before. Yeah. And in my own world, I feel like there are many times where I don't ask for what I want. So, the relationship dynamic can create or can call out different aspects of us, and to remember that.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And when I work with couples, the not blaming either side, but really looking at, okay, what is the dynamic that's happening? And how is the dynamic not the enemy, but the thing that we're actually looking at, as opposed to somebody's wrong. Nobody has to be wrong. Yes.
Everybody's right. That, like, everybody is allowed to have their own feelings. It's how it impacts the other person. Yes. And are you allowing the other person to also have those same feelings? Totally. That was the biggest thing that my husband and I learned as well. Or my husband, I really think it's my husband learning this, because I feel like this is stuff we've both known for a very long time, but now we're putting it into practice. But to be able to validate my feelings, not necessarily agree with my feelings.
Yes.
He felt that if he gave any power to my feelings, it meant he agreed with my feelings, even though that would belittle who he was.
Yeah.
And he could not do that. So if he let go in any way, that was letting go of his control, his power, who he was as a man.
Yes.
And that was very challenging for him. So once he learned that I can still feel things and have the right to feel them, and that it's my own version of what's going on, and that's the lens that I'm looking through.
Yep.
And he can say, that makes sense. Or you are totally allowed to have your own feelings. That I get that you feel that way. Here's my experience. Like that was a game changer for him. And for me as well, because he was then able to articulate like, oh, that is crazy that you saw it that way. I'm so sorry that that's how you were seeing my behavior. Here's what I was thinking in my head versus that's irrational. Why would you think that? That's crazy, right? Without any explanation past that, which just would shut me down.
Totally invalidates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been a game changer.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all of this.
Yes.
And I just love the 20 years later, married, kids, all of this. Thank you for being vulnerable about your relationship too.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's so funny because 20 years ago, when I think I had my first interview with you, I was saying in my program called What's Inside a Woman's Mind, it was about attraction and flirting and like, what do you like when guys approach? It's just so different, right? It's a totally different conversation now because it's also where we're at. It's the way we're thinking about things, and it's our age where we can look at it from all different sides, which I think is fantastic.
Fortunately, yes. Yes. We've matured and evolved. We have more perspectives than we did back then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks
for you to come onto my podcast.
Doing this again. I would love to. And where can men find more of you?
They can go to so before in the beginning, it said my podcast is called Ask Women. I have a new podcast that's actually called Turn Her On. And that's on Spotify, on Megaphone, on Castbox, on anywhere you can listen to a podcast. That's where it is. So I would go check out Turn Her On with Marnie. I have a bunch of experts come on. I have women come on and tell you what turns them on. I have past clients of mine saying what works for them to turn her on.
Nice.
So it's been really fun, and it's a great podcast.
Awesome. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And until next time.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm so glad you joined us for today's episode of Practicing Love. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and gained insight into yourself and your current and past relationships and inspiration for what's possible. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful for you to subscribe and write a quick review to help people find us. If you'd like more support in your love life, be sure to get your free copy of my best-selling book, Honest Sex, at shanajamescoaching.com/free. That's shanajamescoaching.com/free. And we'll see you next time.